Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Pimp a Shrimp here, and I've got my breeder tank going. Some beautiful specimens in here with the neon tetras. A lot of moss going on. A lot of our shrimp. I do have some beautiful reds coming out. Probably a couple hundred shrimp in here. Then I have a little bit more of an experimental tank. Ignore the fungus in the back. But what I really want to talk about today is this that I'm setting up right now. This is an AquaMaxx tank. It's the long cuboid. Beautiful, beautiful tank. The back is not normally like this. I actually applied a clear frosted glass film to the back because we are in my basement currently. Eventually I'm going to move this tank once I get it all nice and settled with new live plants from my various other projects going on here. Up to be a display tank. So I've got my 3D printer going as well, which I'm doing a little bit of work on, Flash Forge Finder, producing some of these pads for the bottom. So pro tip, when you're putting down hardscape, like I've got a bunch of dragonstone that I'm going to be using, you do want something to cushion it right here so that you don't hit the direct bottom of this rimless tank. And if you actually look at the bottom as well, we have a leveling mat just for good measure, because this is going to be filled with 10 gallons of water. It's a long 10-gallon tank. And I think it's going to be beautiful. So I'm going to update you guys as I start to set this up. I'll probably drill a couple of holes here to run either a small canister, or I may just go with 2 sponge filters and turn this into a breeding tank temporarily while I decide exactly what I'm going to do with it. So I decided that I'm going to use the fluval stratum with this tank. And I've actually got started. Now this stuff, it's a little pricey, but the shrimp love it, and I've always found them to love it. So instead of going with my usual like blasting sand that I would go with, actually these tanks are blasting sand that I got from Tractor Supply. So if you're ever wondering if that actually does work, yes it does. But I figured I would splurge and do something a little different. So if you actually look, it's expensive, so this egg crate serves more than one purpose. Not only does it give me a boundary for when I've got things going, it gives me a little bit of a buffer for the rock I'm going to put down, so that's not directly hitting the glass. Because think about it, you drop a dragonstone on that, bye-bye expensive AquaMaxx rimless tank. But it also kind of dissipates this a little bit. And another trick that you can use is inside of this, I will actually insert root tabs for more additional nutrients. And I'm actually going with root tabs from my aquarium box. If you guys have not checked out my video on my aquarium box, it is an awesome product. I absolutely love getting their stuff monthly. So let's fill in the rest of this. So I'm slowly working on this. I've got a nice little initial layer. The dragonstone's going to go down. I'll probably add a little bit more to the substrate here. I like to have it a little bit more than what I have currently, which is probably about, let's say 2 centimeters. I try to go about 4, but that's just me. Something else I'd like to point out is if you're like just starting out a fish room kind of like this, the Alita AL15 with the manifold works wonderfully at delivering air to all of these air-driven filters that I have going on, as well as the gigantic sponges. I actually have these in this tank seasoning for when I go over to this tank. It's going to be a beautiful thing. Now, we'll see how it goes. So I have my nice little bit of rock and my pretty equipment going in. I just started setting this up. It's going to look great once I get it going. I think I might ditch the canister and just go with the sponge filters for a while. Eventually I'll probably kick on the canister, but I want to get some lily pipes to set it up and really have it pop. I'm just looking forward to it. It's kind of more of an informal aquascape. But something I noticed, which is interesting, is the fluval stratum, the stuff that I had, compared to the stuff that came in this bag. The stuff that came in the bag is actually a lot darker, which is a little bit of a surprise. So you can see I tried to mix it up a little, and it's starting to look good. And like magic, we have this going now. I actually put in some Monte Carlo for my other tank. A little bit of Physidins, some Pogo Stamen Hellfrey. We'll see how that does. I've got my CO2 going, hooked directly to my tank here. I'm actually looking to get a bigger manifold so I can run more than tanks on that. And back here behind the almond leaf, we have hiding some Cameroon moss. Good stuff. I'm using my cobalt heater. And I did ultimately go with one of the sponge filters. I'll go over how I have this set up right now. I've got this little bit of a piece over it so that it doesn't splash everywhere. Eventually I plan on getting a lid for this. I just have it cycling now. I have a couple of snails in here that are in a breeder box that I'm quarantining a little bit. Actually, it looks like one of them escaped. He's hanging out right there. Uh-oh, if that's a piece of duckweed. Oh, please don't be a piece of duckweed. That stuff is like herpes. I can't get rid of it. But I want to talk about the light that I'm going here. I'm actually using let me move these breeder boxes. A AI Prime, which I'm going to get into more details on. This light is very advanced and is working awesome so far. So, more updates on that. Glad to get this tank running. My yellow shrimp are going to be absolutely thrilled in here. So, updates once it's completely cycled and shrimp ready. Pimp Shrimp signing out. Woo! It wasn't duckweed. It's just a piece of the Monte Carlo. Had me scared for a minute. Once you get duckweed, there's no going back.